Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a NFC East mock draft, which I'm just kind of finishing the NFC almost here. I might do an NFC North, but I might not because of the fact that I've done mainly NFC North things in the past, so might skip out on the NFC North and just do the other divisions. So maybe, or I might even just create the NFC North one, but I do not know what I want to do, so it's kind of just out of the question, in my opinion. So, yeah, NFC Smoke Draft. Can't get into presentation mode, but this should just still be fine. For my Cowboys, I got them in the second. Well, first of all, there is a trade between me and the Jaguars. I gave the Jaguars my first round pick and a 5th round pick this year to get a 3rd this year and a 1st round from them next year. Because I do not think the Jaguars are going to be that good, and I think they have a lower pick than 24, so I think that's great value for the Jaguars. And in the 2nd round, the Cowboys elect to take tackle Abraham Lucas out of Washington State, which PFF gives that an A- grade, and I do agree because he can replace Leo Collins, the guy they had to cut, and he eventually did sign with the Bengals, so he should play well there. But Abraham Lucas is just a great tackle prospect, and I do expect him to play well with the Cowboys if he does end up going there. 3rd round, pick 70, got wide receiver Justin Ross, which this is the pick that did belong to the Jaguars, but we end up getting it through that trade. And Justin Ross out of Clemson, he's a very physical receiver. I kind of drafted him to either replace Amari Cooper or Cedric Wilson. He's a bigger receiver, kind of fast, but I just think he can very easily develop in the Cowboys system, as they got very, very good players all around the team. So, I think he'll work out there. Now, round 3, pick 88, I got center Donovan West. He's a center out of Arizona State. I believe I have him being mocked to numerous teams because I just think he's that good of a prospect. But I do think that he will be a backup his first year and then end up taking the starting role in his 2nd year because he just doesn't really need to be the starter right away. He can learn behind all those veteran linemen on the team. 4th round, I got Jalen Weidemeyer going there. Now that is because Jalen Weidemeyer could replace Dalton Schultz, because maybe they don't want to pay Schultz, and then they can get Weidemeyer in there, and I think he'll do the exact same things that Schultz could ever do. So I think Weidemeyer could be a great pick, honestly, for the Cowboys, and I think that would really work out for them quite well. He is a great pass catcher. And then 5th round, we got Zaquandre White. He's a running back. I kind of have him as an insurance policy in case either Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott go down, and then he can get a couple carries, but in that system. But Zaquandre White is just, in general, he's been a very good player out of South Carolina, and I do think he will continue to do so, and I think he'll be quite elite at that level. And then the 2nd of their 5th round picks, the Cowboys get Noah Ellis. He is a D lineman out of Idaho. I think he is a defensive tackle. Him and Maquan McCall, they're both defensive tackles. And we pick them fairly close to each other, but they are very good at what they do. And I think they just need to get some fresh faces in that line because most of the guys there are pretty old. So get them in there and then have the old guys teach them, and then the older guys can go find different teams. That's what I would say. There is a trade happening between the Jaguars and the Cowboys again. the Cowboys are getting Kayla Von Chason from the Jaguars because that was a terrible draft pick in my opinion. That was one heck of a bust right there. Didn't really work out. So, Cowboys get Kayla Von Chason. The Jaguars get a 5th round pick this season. So, they would have had 3 in this, but I decided to trade one of those away. And I gave up their 4th and 5th round picks next season to be able to get Kayla Von Chason. I think that could be great value, or it will just end up being a backup, but it's not really much that you gave up in the first place. So, I do think that would be a great situation. So, right here, I got something else happening. The Eagles are trading up to the number 8 pick with the Falcons. The Falcons end up getting their 2 first, 15 and 18, which that will help them very much. And in return, the Eagles get a 1st rounder this season, just that 1st rounder this year. And they end up getting a 2nd and a 4th next year. And they get a 5th and a 7th in 2024. Which basically, in my opinion, I think this would really work out for the Eagles because now they get 5 players from 2 picks. And 3 of those draft picks that they ended up getting are fairly high. So, I do like that. Ooh, didn't want to go down that far because I kind of got a sneak peek there. But, because I don't really know if you saw the receiver being traded to the Eagles. But, you see it in a couple seconds here. Well, I should say a couple minutes or a minute, but and they ended up trading up to get Trent McDuffie, who is a corner out of Washington, as many of you know. He's risen up draft boards recently, and I'd give that an A grade as he is the perfect corner to go to the Eagles. It's either going to be McDuffie at 8 with someone trading up, or he's going to slide back to the Vikings, and I think the Vikings would take him. So really, it's really for matter if he falls a little bit or not. Then in the 3rd round, pick 83, you get guard Dylan Parham. Mainly, honestly, I don't even know who's a guard for the Eagles, but it was on their position of needs list, so I just kind of took him and went with it. Don't really know much about Dylan Parham out of Memphis, besides that he's a really good pass blocker and run blocker, but he's coming out of a tiny bit of a smaller school, so doesn't really have a big sample size. Now, in the 3rd round again, pick 101, there's tackle Zach Tom out of Wake Forest. He is a very good pass blocking tackle, and I think he can learn behind Lane Johnson for 1 or 2 years, and then Zach Tom can take the role, and then they can trade Lane Johnson or he retires. So, I think that would be a win-win scenario for them. Alright, here we go. There is a trade. The Philadelphia Eagles get Courtland Sutton. And what they ended up giving up was a 2nd, a 4th, and a 5th round pick this season to get Courtland Sutton. The trade thing said it was just fair for a 2nd round pick, but I ended up giving him a 4th and a 5th because my trade value for Sutton is different than what this simulator has him valued at. So, I had that happening. And another trade. This is for Jerome Baker because they do not have the strongest linebacking core there in Philadelphia, so gotta get a nice linebacker, and I think Jerome Baker can really help them as they give up 2 5ths and a 6th. 2 5ths and a 7th this season and a 3rd next year. They get rid of a lot of picks in this, but from that first trade they gained a bit. So really, you're unloading talent to get talent, which really, I feel like a lot of players are gonna, teams are going to be pulling a Rams here and just trying to get the most talent that they can. So that is that first one. Now we are on this one. I guess I can present now. So there's that. Sorry for the inconvenience. That's loading. But I just gotta wait a couple seconds. Gotta skip those first 2. But here we go. Giants mock draft. I'll just kind of keep it out as, at pick 5. 5, I have the Giants taking Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. He's a tackle. He is my best pass blocking tackle in the class, and I think everyone knows that he is by far the best pass blocker in the class. I think the Giants need that, and they just need pure talent on that line. And they can't be waiting for these guys to develop, as now they have taken 2 tackles in the top 5 in the past 3 years. That's iffy there if they don't work out. So I think Charles Cross is by far a ground and pound lineman that can just get there and apply protection for whoever the quarterback may be this season, whether it's Daniel Jones or it's Tyrod Taylor. Then I have a trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trading up to pick 7 to pick Ahmad Gardner if he falls there, or otherwise I don't really think this trade's going to happen. But the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up getting pick 7, pick 147, and a 5th round pick next year for this. And the Giants got a haul for this pick. They end up getting pick 20 and a 1st and a 2nd next season, and that was already Chicago. And now they guarantee right now get pick 20 plus a 1st and a 2nd next year. They have turned that pick into a lot, and I think they'll even trade that extra 1st rounder next year probably too. So I thought that was a very good decision. And when they trade back to 20, they ended up getting Tyler Linderbaum, who's a center out of Iowa. I've went over this many times. He's a very, very good center. He's one of the best linemen in this draft, so obviously that's why he's going to the 1st round. But I think he would really improve the Giants' line, as will Charles Cross, and these 2 plus Andrew Thomas, that gives them 3 very young guys, and they're kind of pulling the Jets here and just trying to build up the line and protect whoever the future QB may be. Then you have the Giants and the Patriots making a deal. The Patriots get the Giants 2nd and 3rd this, and a 3rd next. And the Giants ended up getting pick 21 because they saw a player still on the board. And it was Nakobe Dean, the linebacker out of Georgia. In my opinion, he's the best linebacker in the class. Which, I mean, I guess there's not really much competition. There's really only one other linebacker that really could be there. But Nakobe Dean, I think, would fit amazingly with the Giants. And then they can end up getting rid of Blake Martinez whenever that cap casualty goes down, and then they have a very good replacement. And just in general, he's a very good player. Now in the 3rd round, this is a steal for the Giants. They get Carson Strong, the quarterback out of Nevada. I was worried he wouldn't be on the board for the Giants, but he's there, so you take him. He has the best arm in the class, by far, very accurate, and I think he could take the starting job before the season even starts. And that would be great value for a 3rd round pick for him to come in and start right away. In the 5th round, they end up getting Josh Johnson out of Tulsa. Went over him. I mean, he's a really just good late round receiver. He's kind of like what Tyler Johnson was a couple years ago. And then the 3 6th round picks end up being Javion Hylia, Luke Wattenberg, and Josh Rivas. I'm not going to go too much into depth with those players. And then the Giants traded for Samson Ebukam, 2 6ths and a 7th, which is how Luke Wattenberg and Josh Rivas came along, and they ended up only trading a 4th. So that was great value for them. And then, last pick of the draft, they get Darian Butler as an insurance policy if Nakobe Dean doesn't work out in the 7th round, but I'm sure he will, so they don't really have anything to worry about. Just depth, if at the worst. So that happens. Now, on to the last team in the NFC East, in the Washington football team. They are a very interesting team. The Chargers trade up with them. The Chargers get pick 11, a fourth this upcoming season, as in the 2023 season, and a third in the 2024 season. And the Washington Commanders, they get a first rounder from the Chargers this, and a first rounder next year. So they're trying to just stack up on talent. Now, when they trade back, they ended up getting Bernard Ryman. He's a tackle out of Central Michigan. Went over him many of times. Not really much to say besides he's a very good player. Round 2, pick 47, Leo Chenal out of Wisconsin. He's very, very good linebacker, and I just think at this point they need to keep drafting guys until they ended up getting it right, because Ron Rivera loves his young linebackers, so I would love to see Leo Chenal go there. And in the 4th round, you get Bailey Zapp out of Western Kentucky. He's a very good quarterback, and I think he's just there for the first year. Probably not going to get any sort of significant starting time, but he can be there. He can be coached up by Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, and kind of learn how it is to go to smaller schools, because Taylor Heineke did at Old Dominion, and Carson Wentz went to a bigger school at North Dakota State, so he'll get that full, experience there. And he probably would be a QB3 at best his first season, but he'd still be able to develop. Josh Johnson, again, we already talked about him. But then their 2 7th-round picks are both tackles. Even though they already took one in the first, they need depth at tackle very, very badly. They just don't really have that much there. They have Sam Cosmi now and Bernard Ryman, but some tackles can slide down and play good if they aren't successful, so maybe Bernard Ryman chooses to do that if he, or maybe the team just puts him there if he isn't succeeding at tackling. These guys are just sort of insurance policies. First one's Ryan Van Denmark out of Connecticut. Just mainly a good pass blocker. I think that's what the Commanders need. And then you get Patrick Paul out of Houston, who's by far the better run blocker. So you end up getting 2 players that both have different talents, and you can see which one of them would fight for and end up winning for that tackle number 2 job. Alright, and that is the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you next time. Bye.